All right, diving into something pretty cool today. Vision language models. VLMs, for short.
LMs,
You
yeah.
know, those AI systems that can understand images and text at the same time. Like,
Right.
we're not just talking about simple image captioning here. Think more like understanding a whole comic book
Wow.
or a textbook with
Yeah,
diagrams.
that's a good way to put it.
So the really interesting thing is the research paper we're looking at today,
Mm-hmm.
it describes this brand new type of data set for training these VLMs.
Okay.
And it's built from something, we all have experience with, instructional videos,
Oh, wait,
like
hold on.
online courses and stuff.
That's fascinating. It's like they call it a massive multimodal textbook.
Multimodal textbook, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're diving into today.
Cool.
I guess what we need to figure out is like, what makes this data set so special
Right.
compared to what VLMs usually learn from?
Yeah, what makes it different?
And, well, the big question, right? Why should our listener even care
Yeah,
about a new VLM data set?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the way that most VLMs are trained today.
Okay.
They're usually trained on data sets of, image text pairs.
Pairs, yeah.
So like you might have a picture of a cat, right?
Right.
With the caption, fluffy cat on a couch or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But the researchers behind this new data set, they argue that this is kind of, it's missing something important.
Like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's
Yeah.
like learning a language from flashcards, you know?
Oh, right.
You might pick up some vocabulary, but you're not really getting, like, the grammar or the nuance of how the language is actually used.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you're not getting the full picture.
Exactly, yeah.
And the alternative data sets that try to, capture that more natural flow
Right.
of images and text, they often just rely on scraping data from web pages,
Ah, okay.
which, introduces a lot of noise.
Noise,
Yeah, ads and random images, text that's only loosely connected to the visuals.
It's like, yeah, a big jumbled mess.
It's not the best way to learn, deep understanding.
It makes you wonder, like, are these VLMs trained on those data sets? Are they actually learning anything meaningful?
Right.
Or are they just getting really good at, like,
Sure.
recognizing patterns and making superficial connections?
Exactly. That's a great point.
You know?
And that's really where this multimodal textbook data set stands out, right?
Okay.
It's built from over 22,000 hours of instructional videos.
Oh, wait.
That's over 2.5 years
That's a lot.
of nonstop learning.
Yeah.
Covering 6 core subjects: math, physics, chemistry, earth science, engineering, and computer science.
Wow, that's a lot of information.
It is.
So are they just, like, dumping all these video frames into
Right.
a giant digital pile?
No, not at all.
Okay.
They're using this, actually a very sophisticated knowledge taxonomy
Okay.
with almost 4,000 knowledge points to organize the content.
All right, so break that down for me. What do you mean by knowledge taxonomy?
So think of it as like a multi-layered system.
Okay.
It starts with a broad subject, like physics, then narrows down to the course, like Newtonian mechanics, then even more specific with subcourses like motion in one dimension, and then finally breaks it down to these individual knowledge points, like velocity or acceleration.
So instead of just having this random assortment of images and text,
Right.
it's got this, like, clear structure and hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly, like a real textbook.
Like an actual textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the structure.
Okay.
They've been very careful in selecting the content.
Content, right.
They've extracted over 6.5 million keyframes from these videos.
Wow, that's a lot of keyframes.
It is, using an algorithm that actually identifies the frames with the most significant visual changes.
So they're not just, like, throwing every single frame in there.
No, they're picking out those key moments that really capture the essence of what's being taught.
Okay, so they're being very selective.
Yeah, they're being very careful.
All right, so we've got the keyframes, but what about the audio?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So they've incorporated the instructor's spoken explanations,
Okay.
transcribed and refined to make sure it's all clear.
Refined. Okay.
And they've even used OCR to extract any text that appears on the screen.
So it's like they've taken all the best parts of these instructional videos, the visuals, the explanations, the on-screen text,
exactly.
and kind of, like, woven them together into this really rich and structured learning environment.
Exactly. A very rich learning environment for these VLMs.
So how does this, solve the problems that we were talking about earlier
Well, a couple things.
with the other data sets?
First of all, the images and text are directly related, just like in a textbook.
Okay, yeah.
There's a clear logical flow between the images because they come from that teaching sequence.
Huh, because they're part of a sequence.
Yeah, it's not just random images.
Okay.
And the content is packed with foundational knowledge across these different fields.
This is all incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why this is such a big deal. Like, what are the implications of all this?
Well, I think if we can train these VLMs on data that is structured and presented the way humans actually learn, we're essentially giving them a much deeper understanding of the world.
Deeper understanding.
And how it works. Instead of just recognizing patterns, they can start to, understand concepts, reason about relationships, and make inferences.
So it's like moving beyond just recognizing a cat in a picture.
Exactly.
To actually understand it, like, why is the cat there?
Right, or what might the cat do next?
What might happen next, based on its body language.
Exactly. We're moving beyond just, simple recognition towards genuine understanding.
Wow. So what kind of possibilities does that open up?
Well, just imagine VLMs that can, help you understand complex scientific papers.
Okay.
Or assist in medical diagnosis,
right? Like looking at patient symptoms and medical images together?
Exactly. Or even generate educational content that's tailored to your specific learning style.
All right, now I'm starting to see why you're so excited about this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But hold on, before we get carried away with all these futuristic possibilities, did the researchers actually test whether these VLMs, trained on this multimodal textbook actually learned anything?
Of course they did. And they used a rather ingenious method. They called it a cheat test.
A cheat test? Yeah. All right, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Basically, they wanted to see if the VLMs were actually understanding the information or just memorizing patterns.
Right.
So they snuck the answer to a question directly into the question itself.
Oh, that's sneaky.
It is.
Okay, give me an example.
So instead of asking, what is the capital of France? They might ask, the capital of France is a beautiful city. What city is the capital of France?
So they're basically giving the answer away.
Right, they're giving it away. But it's a test
to
see if the VLMs can understand.
Got it.
And what they found was the VLMs trained on this new data set were much better at cheating.
So they were better at understanding the context.
Yeah, at pulling out the answer, even when it was presented in this kind of sneaky way.
So they're not just mimicking or regurgitating information.
No, they're actually learning.
They're learning to reason.
They're learning to reason,
And connect the dots, which is huge.
It is huge.
That's a big deal.
It is, and it really speaks to the power of this new data set.
Yeah.
By training VLMs on information that's structured, presented the way humans learn.
Right.
We're really unlocking their potential to understand and interact with the world on a much deeper level.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing.
I was a bit skeptical at first, but now I'm starting to see the potential here.
It is a big change.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new generation of AI.
It really is.
That can learn and reason like humans.
And it raises some fascinating questions about the future of learning itself.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at some of the specific details of this data set.
Absolutely. I think you'll be impressed with how they put it together.
All right, lead the way. I'm ready to learn more.
Okay, great. Okay, so remember how we mentioned that the researchers were very selective about which frames from the videos they actually included?
Right. They use that algorithm, the SM or structural similarity index or whatever, to find the keyframes. Right?
Yeah, the keyframes with the biggest visual changes.
Yeah, like choosing the best illustrations for a textbook.
That's a good way to think about it.
Making sure each one, is clear and adds something new.
Exactly. They really put a lot of thought into it.
And they did the same thing with the text too, right?
Absolutely.
Like refining those ASR transcripts.
Yeah, using a big language model to, polish them up a bit.
Make them more readable.
Yeah, make them more fluent.
But without changing the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. They were very careful about it.
Which makes sense, especially when you're dealing with so much data.
It's not just about having a lot of information. It's about having the right information.
Right, and presented in a way that's actually useful.
Exactly. That's what makes this multimodal textbook so special.
So it really highlights the importance of human expertise.
Oh, Absolutely.
in AI development.
Yeah.
Like, we might have these powerful algorithms and computers and stuff,
Right.
but it still takes human intelligence to create something really valuable.
I completely agree.
And impactful. Like,
yeah, like a craftsman,
Yeah, exactly.
shaping the raw materials.
It's like, it's a good reminder that even in this age of AI, humans are still like in the driver's seat.
Absolutely.
Shaping the technology.
Or guiding its development.
Yeah.
In a direction that, hopefully benefits us all.
Well said.
Thank you.
All this talk about like mimicking human learning.
Yeah.
It makes me think about like the bigger picture here.
The bigger picture, yeah.
What are the implications of VLMs becoming so good at understanding how humans teach?
That's a really interesting question.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. What does it mean for the future of education?
Yeah.
And the role of technology?
Okay, so let's go there. Let's speculate a bit.
Okay.
What are some of the potential implications?
Well, imagine searching the web, but not just with text.
Okay.
Like you could use images and text.
Oh, interesting.
Let's say you want to, identify a flower.
Right.
You could just show the VLM a picture.
Instead of trying to describe it.
Exactly. And it could tell you, like, the species or where to buy seeds, all sorts of things.
That'd be amazing, like a botanist in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
What about in education? Could they
Oh, absolutely.
help students learn?
Yeah, imagine personalized tools that adapt to how you learn best.
Okay.
Like if you're a visual learner, more images.
Ah, I see.
If you're auditory, more spoken explanations.
That would be revolutionary.
It really could change how we think about learning.
It would be like having a tutor that knows exactly how you learn.
Exactly.
And it's not just personalized learning, right?
No, it's about making it more engaging too.
Engaging.
Like textbooks that come to life with animations and virtual field trips.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, powered by these VLMs.
Okay, now I'm really getting excited about this.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
But let's step back for a second.
Okay.
Besides the cheat test.
Right.
Any other interesting findings from the research?
One thing that really stood out to me was how well these VLMs did.
Okay.
On tasks that require, like, understanding complex relationships.
Complex relationships, okay.
Like, they could solve multi-step math problems.
Wow.
Or explain a scientific process.
So they're not just, like, spitting out facts.
No, they're using what they've learned.
They're actually problem solving.
Yeah, and even, like, creative stuff.
Creative, like what?
They could generate stories based on, like, a visual prompt.
That's really impressive.
It is, and it really shows how this type of data,
Right, structured like human learning.
Yeah, it leads to a deeper understanding.
Makes you wonder if they're starting to...
It does make you want to
think like humans.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
And one that, we're all still figuring out.
It's pretty incredible to think that this multimodal textbook idea has unlocked this whole new level.
It really has.
Of learning for these VLMs.
It's a huge step forward.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive today into this fascinating world of VLMs.
It's been a great discussion.
And this revolutionary new data set.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And learned something new.
Don't forget to check out the show notes for...
all the links.
Links to the research paper and examples from the data set.
And some more resources if you want to dive deeper.
Stay curious, keep exploring.
Absolutely.
And we'll catch you on our next deep dive.
See you then.